Bro, this is so freaking hype. Huh. I am Napoleon. I am Emperor. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be reacting to something that I've been wanting to react for the longest time. Napoleon, one of my favorite topics in history. Let's get straight into this video.
PMF Productions collaboration. In 1796, at the height of the French Revolutionary Wars, a young French general took charge of a ragged, demoralized army.
Bro, Napoleon. Oh my gosh, I love this guy. I love this guy so much. This guy is boss. He's badass. He's everything.
In northern Italy. It was his first command. Many expected him to fail. Instead, in just 1 month, he won his first brilliant campaign. With astonishing self-confidence, boldness and energy, he led his army to victory after victory, transforming the war in Europe, winning praise from a grateful republic, and forging a legend. This is the story of Napoleon Bonaparte's first campaign, and the dawn of a new age.
The man who's gonna completely influence Europe for the rest of history. Oh my goodness gracious me.
1792. Europe is plunged into conflict by revolution in France. At first, it seems this infant republic will be quickly snuffed out by her neighbors.
Dude, it is mad to me how freaking France even managed to beat them up. Granted, it was because of Napoleon, but it's crazy, dude. You got Spain, you got Britain, you got all of these people, and yet France freaking... I don't know how.
Incredibly, France clings on, thanks to mass mobilization, patriotic fervor, and her traditional military power. In 1795, France occupies the Low Countries, while Prussia and Spain withdraw from the war. But the French Republic still faces a powerful coalition of enemies, which includes the Austrian Empire and kingdoms of Piedmont, Sardinia, Naples, and Great Britain, as well as a counter-revolutionary revolt in the Vendée region of western France.
Bro, warfare back then, oh my goodness. I'm not gonna talk much about it now, but dude, it's crazy to me how warfare back then was so different, because warfare back then was like, you know, like, if this was real life, and this was like a coalition against France, 9 times out of 10 France would be dead, because warfare is just so different now that it would be hard to even like pull a stunt like this off.
In Paris, the most extreme revolutionaries had been toppled, sent to the guillotine, as they had sent so many before them. France is now governed by the Directory, a more moderate 5-man committee, which quickly wins a reputation for corruption and inefficiency. Nevertheless, in 1796, they plan a major military offensive.
Poland! Look at Poland! Poland is gone! Oh, freaking partition of Poland. Oh my gosh, that's actually tragic.
Offensive to knock their most dangerous adversary, Austria, out of the war. The two main efforts will be made along the Rhine by powerful armies under General Jourdan and General Moreau. A third effort, of which much less is expected, will be made in northern Italy. The French Army of Italy is a poor cousin, starved of money and supplies, stripped of troops to reinforce French forces on the Rhine. But its fortunes are about to change. On the 2nd of March 1796, the Directory appoint a new commander to lead the army. One of France's youngest generals, Napoleon Bonaparte. We're delighted to welcome back as video sponsor NapoleonSouvenirs.com, the online shop for all fans.
That's pretty cool, but I'm too broke. I'm too broke. I'm too broke. But this is actually pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie.
Napoleon arrives at the Army of Italy's headquarters in Nice on the 25th of March. He is just 26 years old. 2 years have passed since he masterminded French victory at the Siege of Toulon. Since then, his fortunes have been mixed. A short spell as artillery commander in Italy, 10 days in jail when his political patrons fell from power. He then refused to
Napoleon got put in jail? I actually did not know that.
serve in the Vendée, fighting French counter-revolutionaries, leading to several months' unemployment in Paris. Then, an extraordinary break. 13 Vendémiaire, Paris. A royalist mob threatens to storm the national government. Napoleon is the closest general to hand and put in charge of its defense. He disperses the crowds with brutal efficiency and is acclaimed savior of the revolution. A grateful directory promotes Napoleon to General of Division and awards him command of the Army of Italy.
Yeah, I remember this part, yeah.
On the 9th of March, he marries his great love, Joséphine de Beauharnais, and leaves.
Josephine is for the skleets. She's for the skleets. I'm sorry, but it's just funny how Napoleon actually loved this chick, but this chick didn't really care about Napoleon that much until he actually became really famous. She's for the streets.
Leaves for the front 2 days later. There are French generals in Italy with a better claim to command than Napoleon. Serrurier, a professional soldier who first saw action in the 7 Years' War, a decade before Napoleon was born. Augereau, a tough, experienced soldier, bold tactician, and committed Republican. And Massena, risen from the ranks, fearless, tireless, hero of the Battle of Loarno against the Austrians the year before. All three would later become marshals of Napoleon's empire.
Really? Yo, dude, this is why I have to react to Napoleon, because there's so much I don't know about Napoleon. And I really love this period. Oh my gosh, dude, you have no idea how much I love this period.
For now, Napoleon seems to these veterans young and underqualified, a political appointment, embarrassingly infatuated with his new wife. But there is something about the Corsican. As Massena observed, his small size and puny face did not put him in their favour. But as soon as he donned his general's hat, he seemed to grow by 2 feet. Napoleon impresses above all with his tireless energy, and he has much to do. His army is organized into Massena's advance guard of 2 divisions, one led by a hard-fighting Swiss general La Harpe, and the other by Meunier, whom Napoleon soon decides is incompetent. The main body comprises the divisions of Augereau, Serrurier, and 2 smaller divisions under Macquart and Garnier. The cavalry is led by General Stengel. But the Army of Italy has been shockingly neglected by the Directory. The men are hungry and unpaid, with a few units on the verge of mutiny. Some men don't even have shoes or muskets. Napoleon inspects the troops and studies reports. He enforces discipline and breaks up rotten units. He is assisted by his aides-de-camp, Junot, Marmont, and a dashing cavalry colonel, Joachim Murat. As
Mira, the GOAT. He is the GOAT, bro. Mira, oh my gosh. Oh, this guy. This guy is my favorite right here. I don't know much about Napoleon's like marshals and all that, but I do know about Murat. Oh, he's easily the GOAT.
Emperor, Napoleon will make 2 of these men dukes, and 1 a king. His most valuable assistant is his new chief of staff, General Berthier, who helps him to reorganize the army's supply system and scour southern France for food, transport, and forage. The situation begins to improve. But Napoleon knows what will really rejuvenate his ragged divisions. Victory in battle, and the promise of plunder.
Let me help you with that. I'm good, man. Thanks. Are you sure?
Everyone can use a little help.
I want to lead you into the most fertile plains in the world. Rich provinces, great cities will be in your power. There you will find honor, glory, and riches. Soldiers of Italy, will you lack courage or constancy? Interesting. Napoleon's Italian campaign. Without Napoleon, Italy probably wouldn't be a country.
Napoleon has spent 2 years studying the situation in northern Italy and the history of past wars here. He has developed clear plans on how the campaign must be fought. Now,
Whoa, so 2 years? Bro, damn, no wonder why he was so good in Italy. 2 years? Okay.
he will put them into action. Napoleon, with 38,000 troops, outnumbers the Piedmontese and the Austrian army. But if they combine, he will be outnumbered, so he must prevent this at all costs. His plan bears all the hallmarks of what will become known as the Napoleonic art of war. A bold, rapid advance, not against the expected target, Genoa, but Dago. Here he will occupy the central position and prize his enemies apart. He knows that when threatened, the Piedmontese will retreat on their capital Turin, the Austrians on Milan. With his enemies divided, unable to support each other, he can defeat each in detail. Napoleon's plan.
Nope. Dude, if I was like the Austrians and the Piedmontese, what I would do in that situation is let Napoleon take one of the capitals or cities or whatnot and retreat, retreat and combine the armies, come back, retake the city, boom. That's just me though.
Plan will be aided by the fragility of the Austro-Piedmontese alliance. They regard each other with deep distrust after years of rivalry.
Oh, okay. There's always a catch.
The new Austrian commander, General Beaulieu, is experienced and was once considered energetic, but he is now 70 years old and does not know Italy. He is convinced the French will target Genoa, the port used by the British to supply their coalition allies. So much so that he rejects Piedmontese plans for close cooperation. Their troops remain scattered across mountain passes in a general defense against invasion. On the 4th of April, Napoleon moves his headquarters forward to Albenga in preparation for his offensive. But Beaulieu strikes first. On the 10th of April, Austrian troops take Voltri to disrupt the expected French attack on Genoa. The small French garrison falls back to join Massena's advance guard at Savona. But Beaulieu's fixation with Genoa is playing into Napoleon's hands. Dago, with its vital crossroads that link the Piedmontese and Austrian armies, is covered by just 8,000 men of Argenteau's corps. Mountainous terrain means Beaulieu can only march to Argenteau's aid via Acqui, more than 20 miles to the north. What's more, Argenteau has orders to take French positions at Montenotte as a diversion for the attack at Voltri. But the French cling on courageously. Corporal Roache particularly distinguishes himself, exposing himself to enemy fire to shoot down on the enemy. His commander, Colonel Rampont, tells his men, "Here we must conquer or die," a moment which quickly enters French military folklore.
Napoleonic wars have some of the most badass battles in my personal opinion. Oh my goodness, bro. This is why I'm like so hyped for this, bro, because like warfare back then was just crazy. It was so much more different. It was just wild, dude. It wasn't like today. In 2024, you just sent artillery. I mean, or airstrikes or missiles or something like that, and boom. But back then, you actually had to fight the enemy face on, bro. It's crazy, dude.
It's the perfect setup for Napoleon. The enemy's attention is focused on Voltri, and Argenteau's corps has been left dangerously exposed. He swings into action, sending La Harpe's division to reinforce Rampont's troops, while Massena makes a tough night march across steep ravines in rain and fog to turn Argenteau's right flank. By dawn, the Austrians are outnumbered, outflanked, and under heavy attack. They retreat in disarray.
Bruh. Bruh.
Napoleon orders Massena to move on Dago, while he turns his attention to the Piedmontese. But Augereau's advance gets held up at Cosseria. The old castle is held by Piedmontese and Croatian grenadiers. The French launch frontal attacks into withering fire and suffer hundreds of casualties. When the colonel of the 18th Demi Brigade is killed, a 26-year-old Louis-Gabriel Suchet takes over command. "I have never seen fire like it," wrote Marmont, Napoleon's aide-de-camp. Despite heroic resistance, the hopelessly outnumbered garrison surrenders the next day. With Serrurier's division also advancing from the south, Piedmontese commander General Colli has little choice but to abandon his position at Montezemolo. The same day, under Napoleon's watchful eye, Massena takes Dago. But while La Harpe's division moves off to reinforce Augereau, hungry French troops left in Dago turn to plunder and pillage. No one spots Colonel Vukasovic, a tough Croatian commander, approaching with 3,000 reinforcements. He attacks at dawn, routing the French and retaking Dago with ease. It requires the recall of La Harpe's division and another day of heavy combat before Vukasovic can be driven out of Dago. A bayonet charge led by 27-year-old Colonel Lannes wins particular praise from General Bonaparte. Napoleon has won 3 victories in 4 days. The marches and battles have been grueling, but he has achieved his first objective. The Austrians are regrouping at Acqui and will soon retreat to Alessandria. They can offer no support to the Piedmontese. And so General Colli orders another withdrawal to a strong defensive position behind the Corsalia River. Napoleon orders an immediate attack. Augereau's division on the right, Serrurier on the left.
Interesting, but Napoleon outnumbers them though, right? I'm pretty sure that he does. Yeah, interesting.
Senna in support. But the French, under heavy fire, struggle to cross the swollen river with its steep banks. When Serorier's troops finally get into San Michele, they immediately begin looting the town and are thrown out
Sheesh, fam. Like, oh my gosh.
by a counterattack. Despite his success, Colli is still heavily outnumbered and fears encirclement. The following evening, he begins a covert withdrawal to Mondovì. But Napoleon is not deceived by the fake campfires. Patrols confirm his suspicions. The Piedmontese are pulling back. Though his troops are exhausted, wet and hungry, he launches them after the fleeing enemy. Colli's troops are caught before they can establish a new defensive line. The brave
Caught lacking. Bro got caught lacking, fam. Ho
and popular General Dicat is killed. Retreat turns to rout.
Ooh, April 21st. That's my birthday.
The French enter Mondovì in triumph, where at last, briefly, they can eat and rest.
Oh my
A
gosh.
performance that
These
truly
ads,
matters.
These ads.
For
These ads. The two armies which lately attacked you in full confidence now fly before you in terror. Cold. Ice cold, fam. It's freaking colder than me right now, and I have a quill on.
General Colli, his defeated troops scattered and demoralized, requests an armistice. Napoleon declines, as his troops descend from the mountains into the fertile plain of Piedmont. Destitute and starved, French soldiers now plunder the Italian countryside freely. Brigadier General Joubert is among those frustrated by the men's conduct. Everything would go very well if the soldiers did not abandon themselves to pillage. Not a day passes without some looters being shot. Despite this severity, the mania doesn't stop. The rural folk are arming themselves. Napoleon condemns such behavior, but his orders have limited impact, especially at
Yeah, I was looking at that. I'm like, I don't really think, like, I understand, they're hungry, like, they want to eat. But you could kind of do that in a much more orderly manner, in my personal opinion. Yeah. And the rural folk, I was actually wondering, like, what are the people are just allowing this? Like, what's going on?
as everyone knows Generals Massena and Augereau to be two of the greatest offenders. On the 25th of April, French troops enter Carrasco, just 30 miles south of the Piedmontese capital, Turin. Meanwhile, General Beaulieu is at long last marching to Piedmont's aid. But he is a week late, and when he learns that Piedmont has opened negotiations with the enemy, he withdraws his troops in disgust, planning to take up new positions along the Po River. Austrian troops join in the plunder of Piedmontese villages as they...
What? What? This dude, bro. What? Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I'm sorry, but like you just abandon your ally because they're negotiating with the enemy because they're in a perilous position. Like what in the world? I mean, I know they're very snobby back then, but
go. Victor Amadeus III, King of Piedmont Sardinia, sees no option but to accept Bonaparte's terms for an armistice. Piedmont must give up the strategic fortresses at Cuneo and either Alessandria or Tortona leaving the country virtually defenseless. The final peace treaty, signed 3 weeks later in Paris, cedes Nice and Savoie to France, and grants free passage to French armies. Napoleon
So that's how France got those lands. Interesting.
has ended the 4-year war with Piedmont in less than 3 weeks.
Soldiers, you have won 6 victories in a fortnight and conquered the richest part of Piedmont. But soldiers, you have yet done nothing, for there still remains much to do. Bro, this is so freaking hype. Huh. This is like a movie, but instead you're learning history.
The army of Italy has little time to rest on its laurels. 4 days later, having received 7,000 reinforcements and fresh supplies, it's on the move again. Napoleon plans to invade the rich province of Lombardy, ruled by the Emperor of Austria, and defeat Beaulieu's army. But first he must cross the Po River, which is closely watched by Austrian forces. It will prove one of Napoleon's most brilliant maneuvers. Massena is ordered to make conspicuous preparations to cross the river near Salé, assembling boats and building gun batteries. Meanwhile, Napoleon has formed a new elite brigade, 5,000 grenadiers, carabiniers, and chasseurs to act as the army's advance guard under the command of General d'Allemagne. This force is
Bro, he looks like a monkey. That guy looks like a monkey, bro. Wait, go back. He looks like a monkey.
advance guard under the command of
Look at that. What the heck? I hope that was just a bad picture because he, he looks like a prehistoric human. Neanderthal. Oh gosh. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
General d'Allemagne. This force is ordered to march rapidly east to Piacenza and cover 40 miles in just 36 hours. They are followed by La Harpe's division, then Augereau and the cavalry. Beaulieu receives reports that French troops are moving east and begins to redeploy his forces.
Oh, I think I see what's about to happen. I'm not going to say it, but let's see what he says.
Remaining conscious that there are still French troops that might cross the Po as far west as Valença. This uncertainty makes it impossible for him to concentrate his forces. What's more, he's completely underestimated the scale and speed of Napoleon's move.
No living being should ever eat processed food for every single meal of their life.
I do agree with that, though. Processed foods, ugh.
The French advance guard, with Colonel Lannes in the lead, crosses the Po on the 7th of May, chasing off Austrian patrols that are the only opposition. By the next morning, most of La Harpe's and Augereau's divisions and the cavalry are across, consolidating the French bridgehead, while Massena and Serrurier move to the crossing as fast as they can. Men of General Liptai's division are the closest Austrian troops. They take up defensive positions at Fombio, but are overwhelmed by the French attack. That evening, Beaulieu's advance guard arrives, expecting to reinforce Liptai. Instead, they blunder into La Harpe's division. In confused night fighting, General La Harpe is shot dead, possibly by friendly fire.
Tragic. Bro. Oh.
Napoleon regards him as one of the army's best generals, and his loss a great blow. Beaulieu, realizing that the French have crossed the Po in force and now threaten to cut him off, orders a rapid withdrawal east, Milan is to be sacrificed. The great
Bruh. This guy. What is with this guy just sacrificing people?
fortress of Mantua will be his next refuge. The French advance guard is soon in pursuit. On the morning of the 10th of May, they catch the Austrian rearguard at Lodi. French troops chase the Austrians across town and over the town's 200-yard bridge over the River Adda. But when they try to follow, they find the bridge is swept by fire from 14 guns. Its far end is held by 3 battalions of Croatian infantry. Several more battalions and cavalry squadrons are behind them in reserve, around 6,500 men in total. Napoleon soon arrives and positions guns to bombard the Austrians on the far bank. An artillery duel rages for much of the afternoon. Napoleon sends Beaumont's cavalry brigade upstream to look for a ford so they can cross the river and flank the Austrian defences. But he grows impatient. Massena's division has begun to arrive from the south, bringing his strength up to 15,000 men and 30 guns. Napoleon makes a speech to the infantry, taunting them, daring them to take the bridge, then orders them forward. To cries of "Vive la République!" the hardened 2nd Carabinier Battalion leads the charge. They come under torrential fire from the Austrian guns. But urged on by Napoleon, Berthier, Massena, Lannes, and others, French infantry surge across, under, and around the bridge. Faced with this irresistible onslaught, the Austrian front line crumbles. And with French cavalry across the river to the north, the rest of the Austrian rearguard begins an orderly withdrawal.
That is one of the... Nah, bro. I relate to this quote. I swear. I relate to this quote so much.
5 days after his victory at Lodi, Napoleon leads his army into the city of Milan. They are welcomed by cheering crowds. Though in reality, Italians are deeply divided in their attitudes towards the French. After Lodi, French soldiers have a new nickname for their general, Le Petit Caporal, the Little Corporal. It's a term of affection, because he gets his hands dirty, even aiming the guns himself, the job of an artillery corporal. In just a month, Napoleon has transformed a war-weary, dishevelled and demoralized army into a victorious fighting force, brimming with esprit de corps and eager for further conquests. While he, in his first campaign, has demonstrated extraordinary energy, mastery of detail, brilliant military intuition, above all, indomitable self-belief. It is this quality that inspires his soldiers to risk their lives for glory, for the Republic, and for the man they will one day acclaim their emperor. A big thank you to PMF.
Ooh, dude, I have bumps. I'm having bumps. I'm having so much bumps, bro. 'Cause this is so lit. Ooh, I'm gonna be reacting to so much Napoleon videos, hopefully. Okay, I hope people like Napoleon like I do. But if you like the video, make sure to like it, subscribe, you know what I mean? Turn the bell on. It really helps me out. I really love history and I really love making history content and reacting to history content. So if you like the work that I do, please, please, please Like the video and subscribe. Thank you, thank you, thank you.